I'm just going to move right into it. What I want to do is talk about our system. It was designed and launched almost a year ago. Last week, we celebrated 1 week of the weekly workshops, or excuse me, 1 year of the weekly workshops. But the back end of our system where we had the certification program, that model, didn't actually fire until May 8th. And so it's been, what now, 11 months and a week. And what I want to do is have just a conversation about that system. I know it works, but does it work to its fullest potential for you is what I want to gather. And then I want you guys to throw some ideas at me on how we can make it, I guess, easier to use, but also more productive, more valuable to you. And everybody, I think, on this call is a candidate, not a prospect. Let me just double check, with the exception of maybe, oh, we have some new people. Yeah, everybody's a candidate. So you guys all know what the back end looks like. So what I want to do is, Ceci is the only one I physically muted because it was getting background noise, but you guys can just unmute. And what I want to do is, let's start with when you first got it, the basic career profile. Give me some feedback on that, how it felt to you, how easy it is to use. And if you guys go back there on a regular basis, because I know you go to RSVP for workshops, but do you go into your profile? What is it about the main profile that, and I apologize, Ceci, you and I are mentors, and so is Josh, but I think he's in as a candidate, so you may not know what we're talking about. But that main profile, give me some feedback on that, on its usefulness to you and ways we might be able to kind of bring it to life a little bit more. So go ahead and unmute and chatter away. And this session doesn't need to go for a full hour, by the way. We can just have a great conversation and then you guys can go on with your night.
Hey, Pete, I would just start off by saying I think it's a little text heavy. So I'm looking at it.
Okay, how so?
I just think that maybe some pictures or logos, or just if you're talking about website design.
And on the back end, right? When you log in?
Yeah, we're talking about the view my profile page, right?
Text heavy. Okay. Sorry, I'm writing notes. All right.
Yep.
Do you want a photo of you, Casper? Me? Just photos in general?
That would be nice, like a place to upload a picture of yourself to make it a little more interactive. You know, that's usually how most websites that I'm on operate, whether it's LinkedIn or anything else.
Okay. All right.
If you could also in some way see the other candidates on there. I don't know if that would take a lot of changing around, but that would kind of be nice to kind of be able to connect with people like before or after these workshops.
You know, that was when we first designed it. I said, I want to create a platform where we can interconnect, where we run into issues. And I love the idea is underage, so minors. So picking on Evan, who doesn't mind being picked on. Is it okay for you, Casper, to be able to talk to Evan, and what kind of issues may arise from that interaction that we cannot monitor? So that's our first concern. We're focused on privacy because that's data that anybody would love to have, and we want to keep it private. So that was why we kicked that out. But if we can make it remote, somehow where you guys can interconnect, that could be cool.
Or if you bring up that issue, maybe there's like two parallel systems, one for minors and one for anyone above, I guess, whatever the age is, 18, 21.
Yeah, but that's not fair to kids like Evan, who are killing it, who they don't want to talk to other young people. They want to talk to you, that he may want an internship. And Casper, can you hook him up with an internship? That sort of thing. So, but that great feedback. This is exactly what I'm after. Anything else on the career profile? Okay, there are two spots when nobody fills out but all my funders ask, and that's gender and background. They all want to know what percentage are women, and can you tell us about their cultural backgrounds? And I can't tell them a thing. I'm not going to go in there and be like, oh, Peter Madden, he's this. That's not right. It's you guys, and it's all on you. We're not going to force it. We're not going to require it. But what could be a reason why people don't fill that out? And I personally don't know the reasons other than privacy.
Yeah, the reason I didn't fill out the bio section is because it said that the fields with pink background will be visible to recruiters, and I didn't want to put anything in there until I was sure it wouldn't like adversely affect whether I would be hired or something in the future. Like if they had a history or something, then perhaps something would change in my interests, or I wouldn't want to tell them things. So basically, yeah, I don't want it to incriminate me or something in the future.
Are there buttons that ask you if you want to be introduced to mentors or employers? I know the answer. So don't click those. And that takes you out, Evan. What also takes you out is the parental guidance. But if you don't click those two buttons, they're not going to see a thing, no matter what. So like I already double checked on you, nobody can see you. So, but that's great feedback. Okay. So I guess I just won't worry about those two buttons because I'm always curious. Like funders are always asking me, what percentage of your candidates are from low income households? I don't track that stuff. I don't think it's right to track that stuff. I just, it's not on us. We're also we're not funded by governmental agencies, nor are we a governmental agency, but they all want that data. And we're not going to guess, right? We're just going to say, we don't have the data. And if we don't get the money, we don't get the money. I would challenge you though, everybody, but Evan, complete the bio. And here's why. When you complete the bio, that's kind of like your quest, your dream, even though Evan, you know all the other questions, but I read that. And so when an employer calls up and says, hey, we're looking for somebody who might be into robotics. Do you have anybody who might be into robotics? I can read all the both profiles and be like, hey, Peter Madden, he's a high schooler right now. He's into robotics. Let me get you connected. Circa 1988, right? So, or whenever you graduated. So, but that bio helps me as much as it helps the employers. So fill that out, as do the career interests. And I added them before we launched in May to include things like medicine, legal, whatever, because if you don't want to be in aviation, but you do want to pursue those specific industries, then that's okay. Like we may not all end up in aviation, but if we can help you achieve your dream in aviation or not, then we're killing it. And that's what we're all about. So that's why we put those there. But I think not everybody fills out the career interest, which kills me because that's what really helps me out a lot. And when it comes to mentors and recruiters, I will run reports based on the career interests. Any feedback on that?
Yeah, just real quick, Pete, as opposed to having the text, right, buried like in the bio field, that sort of thing. One thing you could do based upon the sort of inquiries that you're getting from the various folks on the other side of this equation, right? The potential hiring companies, et cetera. Those questions that they're asking, you could make, check boxes so that it would be easy for a candidate, right, to be able to respond. Yep, that one applies to me. That one, right? As opposed to, like I said, having the info like embedded in the bio field where you have to do like a textual search and then pick through all of the results to see whether that was really the result you were looking for. Just a thought.
Okay. Perfect. Okay.
Okay, I just want to follow up with Peter. You said like simply like clicking the tabs kind of thing, like how we have on LinkedIn, like your skill set. Is that what? you're saying, Peter?
Yeah, exactly. So basically, to prompt the person that's putting the data in, right, to
Yeah.
respond to a particular list and look through that list and say, yeah, which one of these, if any, right, apply to
Right.
me. And it would be based upon the sort of questions that Pete's getting from the prospective hires, the prospective funders, right, to get better demographic information that's tuned to, again, those questions, right, better demographic info about the candidates.
Yeah, I really like that idea. I think it would be helpful, Pete and Peter.
I know we're skipping ahead a little bit to the next section, but when it comes to the soft skills, the reason why it's a field is because I want people to think. But would it be better off if we listed like 100 soft skills, 50 soft skills, and then you had a field to write in extras? So same approach, right? And then if we do that, I suppose I can run reports on like everybody who is, whatever, enthusiastic. Think that would help. It takes away from you thinking through what your soft skills are and be like, oh yeah, I'm all these. Just a thought there.
Yeah, the challenge is that the more friction you put into the system, Pete, from a data entry perspective, the less likely you're going to get the responses. Right? In my area, we focus software development, right? So we're dealing with end customers. We do everything that we can do to remove friction from the process.
Okay. And from my debate with our software developer, who's awesome, pilot, the whole bit, we're here to educate. So we're here to coach and guide you along so that you can learn from this process, not just make it too easy. But I get it. There's a fair balance somewhere. We're trying to strike that. Okay, cool.
Hey, Pete, is there a way to incorporate, say, a Myers-Briggs type test where we could, if someone doesn't know what enthusiastic means in context, where they could choose your own adventure? Hey, this is more like me, and then transfer that into the. I don't know how much work would be involved in that, or if it's even worth the. But if someone's never done any introspection before or 360 view, it might be a useful tool if we can incorporate that to bridge that. Hey, here's a blank screen. Here's something I've never thought about before. I know Pete's going to walk me through it, but in the meantime, I could do some self-assessment too.
Yeah. So Josh, we started that January of 2020 in our live workshop. So we struck a deal with Clifton Strengths Finder, or Clifton Strengths, their product called Strengths Finder. And we bought the $29 one. And we bought it, I think, 100 of them, and we gave them to our students. Sid was one of them, right? Not all the students filled them out. Joni was another one. I don't think she filled it out. They're link sensitive. Everybody gets a special code, special link. And so like, that's why we have an assessment on here, is because we were still with them when we were launching this program, because I love the Strengths Finder. Now it's 112 questions long. And so, do we want to put our candidates through that? If I was a candidate, I'd be like, heck yeah, bring that stuff on free. Heck yeah. But not everybody wants to do it. And so that's why assessment's on there right there. So I love the idea. I just don't know the right tool to incorporate. And that comes with a price tag to us, not to the candidate, but to us. So we want to find the right connections, Myers-Briggs, Clifton Strengths, whatever it might be. But I love that idea, because then you fill out the report and then you can upload it to your profile. And if you don't like the skills that it came up with, you don't have to upload it, but you can upload it on there. Like I have a top 5, and then I have a top 34 Clifton Strengths. And my top 5 are legit. Like you guys could just shout them off right now. And on the 34, my lowest was empathy. And I'm like, what? But it was, it was pretty fun to see. But that's good information for you. It's good information for the employers. And if they use the same assessment in their workplace, then you can merge the assessments to do some fun matching. And that was what we were looking for, but it's pricey. And we thought if we have 10,000 candidates in here and we got in on a deal for $29 a pop, is X Vector going to sponsor that for us? Or do we have to go to another source to cover those costs? So long answer for an easy question, but I wanted to give the background.
And the sponsorship's not going to happen this year, just so you know.
Well, it's 229,000. It's all good.
Hey, Pete, just
I
real
didn't
quick.
get my wallet.
I just dropped in the chat. If anybody's unfamiliar or they want to take a shot at doing I've heard it called Briggs-Myers, Myers-Briggs, whatever you want to call it, but basically personality assessment. 2 links I just dropped in the chat. I believe they're both still free. You know, your mileage may vary, but it'll give you an idea of what that personality assessment can be like.
And if you put in chat your name, if you want, I think I have a handful of those codes that aren't used. If you want it, I'm going to call Clifton Strengths to see if they're still live. But if you want to do an assessment, because we already paid for them, stick your name in the chat. Just be like, hey, Pete, send me, I want to do it. It's free. And it takes about 40 minutes, but just put your name in and I'll see if no guarantee, but hey, Josh, can you do a quick head count? Oh wait, you don't have co-host power. I keep taking photos, but I'm bad at this
No,
stuff.
I'll get it. I'll snip the participants page here.
You're a co-host, stud. Okay, so we've been through a couple of these so far, and I appreciate the feedback. Another one I look at a lot is the job seeking status. So like, if you're not looking for a job, which is what my profile says, right? I'm looking at my screen, then put not looking for a job. But if you're looking for an internship, and I can't remember it's on here, but I'm probably going to add a button or something that says looking for scholarships. Then I can go to town. I can call up my pal Ceci and be like, hey, we got to find scholarships in the Northeast corridor of Georgia. Let's do this. And then we can go to town and create those resources. So I just gave myself to add scholarships. But I encourage you to go to your profile and whatever you're, if you're looking, add that on there. If you're not looking, another one might be looking to go to college, looking for schools, right? Which is the situation Alex might be in, looking for schools, right? He may not be looking for a job, he's looking for schools. And even though he's been accepted to 4, 5, you're still looking for schools because it's not complete process yet. Okay, here I am talking to myself basically. Any other thoughts on those things? I talk to myself all the time, especially on my long runs. Sid does it when she swims, I guarantee you. Okay. How many of you have encountered issues with starting any of the steps, particularly step 1? Have any of you been like, I don't understand how this portal works. Where do I find this stuff? All that. Has anybody encountered that? And if so, what does it look like? Cool. So it's all good to you guys? Sweet.
There was one speed bump, and I can't remember which. I think it was from resume to Peter. I think you had the issue as well where we got kind of stuck, but you may have fixed that already. I don't know. Yeah, there's a couple issues. I want the system to send me a note. I don't care if it's a text or an email to say, Andrew has completed step 2, right? Or he has entered in step 3 information. For example, he's definitely an example. So is Catherine. Catherine put in her stuff. I didn't see it for a couple days. I hate that.
and I want to get pinged on it. Also, you should be receiving an email when you complete a step or when you take an action. And I don't think those emails are automatically going to you guys. So to me, that's an error on our end for sure, but it keeps you engaged. Like when I say you're now in step 3, you should receive an email saying, Evan, congratulations, you're now in step 3, provide this information for these questions. I don't know if you guys are getting those emails because I'm not copied. Any feedback? Was I right, Evan?
I don't think I got any of those automated emails, no.
Yeah, I can echo that. I was just doing the cranial archaeology to try to remember. And I don't think, Pete, when I was advancing from step to step, that I was getting emails.
Okay. Question for you. I know the answer. I can expect the answer. Always looking to beef things up. When you complete a step, would it be fun to you that when you get this automated email that there is a reward of some sort, whatever that reward is? It might be an invitation to apply for a scholarship. It might be $100,000 in fake chips. It could be something like, is there a benefit that you like a reward that you want to see? I guess we can gamify this thing, but that just seems like a little bit of overkill. But would you like to say, I completed my skill sets, I would love an invitation to complete this assessment, that kind of a thing. Would that be a fun thing to add? Do you think it provides value?
Yeah, from my perspective, right, being able to gain increased access to the site. If there's something out there, right, that I can't get to until I fill in the blank, whatever that is, that's incentive enough for me.
Yeah, and that's why we put the scholarships after soft skills. You complete it, then you're eligible to see that scholarship list. But then I got enough feedback to say, let's forget that. Let's just make it available to everybody. But I like that as a step. It's a reward you get. It's something I strive for. I love goals, right? You set a goal. I've accomplished pretty much every goal in my life, even though it took time, but I like goals. So the last step, and we haven't awarded this yet because I'm still looking for that X vector type sponsor, is everybody who completes the certification gets a box of at least 100 contact cards. So that is a reward. I have other companies that want to throw in additional swag. So now I have to think about fulfillment and where I'm going to store that stuff. But still, I'm looking for when you complete the entire process, not only are you introduced to employers, that you get this like little, like our families do, your parents get like, Peter, I don't know if you do this, like you get a box of food in the mail. It'd be like a box of stuff. Or like if you're an athlete, you get a box of like running stuff that we get all the time. Something like that is kind of fun, right? But if you get contact cards, to me, that's like choice, because now you can go to any career fair networking event and you can have a card and have our cute name on it. Okay, so that's, I'm going to add rewards to the list. Okay. The tough one, the resumes. So some of you email me your resumes. Some of you upload them. I prefer upload, but I get why you email, because I see it right away. Any questions or issues that you see with the resume review process? Because usually it takes 2 to 4 interactions. And that doesn't mean the resumes are bad if they're 4, it's just 2 to 4. Like Joni and Elle, who's not here, have changed their formats. So it might take a couple extra steps just so we can understand and follow the format. Any issues? Have you seen any issues with that exchange? Because it does take a little bit more time.
The only problem I see with that is you don't communicate when you got it.
Right.
So I'm like sitting here like, oh,
Waiting.
did I get it? And then I'm just like, I don't know. So I'll send it again. So
Yeah. Perfect. That great feedback, Joni. I appreciate that. Yes. And I know like a couple of you, I know Andrew has waited. He's like, yo, I sent that like a week ago. What the hell? When it should be within 24 hours. If I sent you an email, I expect a 24-hour turnaround at the most. So I appreciate that. It's a good time to pick on Pete right now. and I'm open to that. You know, that's an interview question, right? Have you ever received criticism and how do you address it? I love criticism, so bring it.
So,
So
Pete,
that process, yeah.
yeah, not a criticism of you, although I'll think of something. Don't worry. So I'm on the site right now, right? So you know that I sent you an update to my resume like last week, right?
Yep.
And okay, so I'll raise my hand and I'll say I'm one of those that emailed it to you rather than uploading it on the site. But I'm looking at the site right now, and it's not intuitively obvious how I would update my resume on here. Meaning I'm looking at it and I can see the link, right, to my first version of the resume, and I can click on it. I just did, right? And I can see the resume, but there's nothing on there that really is intuitively obvious that says, click here to update what you sent the first time.
Yeah, going with that, the edit pathway button can be moved to under the pathway, because right now it's under everything. It's under the pathway, it's under the interviews, it's under the event participation, it's under the contact card. So like the first few times I like forgot where it was and I couldn't figure it out because edit personal info only does the like, you know, personal info section, but then the pathway I couldn't figure out how to do it until I like scrolled all the way to the bottom and there was a button that said edit pathway, but that should be under pathway, not under everything else.
And that would be exactly the problem I just ran into, Andrew. Yeah, so good on you.
I might go back to you guys for a deeper understanding, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this link to the recording with George and see if it resonates with him. Okay, cool. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. The resume piece takes the longest, right? You have to wait. We would exchange. You see some red. You make some changes. On everybody on their last draft, that like I may see a couple little things. I'll say I'm going to push you to step 3, but I recommend that you make these changes, and it's on you. By that point, I feel like your resume truly is street ready. Like you can apply with that resume. I feel strongly about that. And I'll go to bat for it if you guys come back and say there's an error. So that takes the longest. The next one, step 3, and not all of you are in step 3. In fact, only 3 of you have seen step 3. So I'm gonna rely on Alex, Evan, who else is done? Oh, just 2 of you. Oh, Andrew's there, right? You're step 3, aren't you? So yeah, you are. I just hit you the other day.
Well,
You should
it
be
still
in
says 2 because I mean I still have to do the rest of the resume stuff.
Okay.
I've been a bit busy.
I thought I passed you through. Anyways, I'll take a look at that after this show. So Evan and Alex, any feedback on the interaction that you have with the step 3? And the step 3 is that interview elevator pitch step.
I think the only thing was after I made changes, I wasn't sometimes sure when I clicked save and remain whether or not they got saved. So I just clicked save and exit and then click edit pathway again. Because normally for other things, there's a little pop-up, even though pop-ups can be annoying, that say this has been updated or saved, but there wasn't that feedback.
Like a notice of change accepted kind of a thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
same thing here too.
Yeah, you too, Alex?
Mhm.
Okay. Cool. Thank you for tearing me apart. That is awesome. Okay. You all have access to a section called interviews, correct? Or is it just for the certifieds?
Yeah, I see it. It just says no interviews logged because I've
Yeah.
not had one.
So what I want to do is I want to expand it to not just employers. This is where Ceci comes in. She doesn't have to provide feedback, but for scholarships. So if you're applying for the 99 scholarship from San Fernando Valley, that you can punch that in there. Couple reasons that you guys get to track your own stuff, right? But if you hit me and say, hey, I'm applying for this scholarship, do you have any advice? I may be able to call Ceci, even though it's wrong, and say, hey, Sid is applying for a 99 scholarship. I'm happy to provide a recommendation, but at least we know. So you know for sure, you track all that, whether it's a scholarship or let's pick on Alex. you can identify your school. So what step are you in the process? Because applying to school is almost similar to applying for jobs. So you can put in accepted, pending, waiting, whatever for each of the schools, so that at least you have a mechanism with which to track your applications. I don't know if anybody has really utilized that. Some candidates have quite a bit. Geronimo, he's not here. He uses it. It also pings me, especially if they're employers or schools. I can, if like Geronimo wants, I can call the employer and be like, hey, I'd like to put in a good word. Or if it's Alex and he puts in Embry-Riddle, I can call Embry-Riddle and be like, hey, can you give me the status on Alex? And the schools will usually share that information. So if anybody's not used it or used it, any feedback on that or ways to make it more beneficial or valuable to you? To me, that's like I love that section. I had it added at the last minute because I think it has the potential for the greatest amount of value. But there's no like reward. There's no special thing. It's kind of like for step 3, I think it's just step 3. Evan, Alex, remind me, where we encourage you to identify your references, unless that's every step, right? Goodbye, Joe. If nobody sees references, there's a section where you can identify your references, right? And that's for you. Nobody else sees that information, but it's for you to track, because we encourage you to track at least 10 references, right? Because if you have 10, you can select 3 from there for each specific job, because you don't want to reuse the same 3 over and over and over. It's going to get old. But if you have up to 10, and that's a place you can put them, be like, oh shoot, where's my reference list? You can always count on this career profile to have those references, and you can put in the contact information and all that stuff. I don't know if anybody here has used it. I'm not looking at all of you guys on the portal, but I encourage that. And if there's a way that you think we can make that a little bit spicier, a little bit more beneficial to you, let me know.
For the interviews, I would love to be able to put scholarships and all that on there.
Yes. So right now we make it so that you can identify the date, employer, or I guess organization or scholarship, school, note, and status. So, and the note would be for you, like a reminder or information you need to send or something. But okay, perfect. Any other feedback on like the process and that whole portal that I haven't touched on that you think would be cool? Like Casper mentioned images. And what I see is a little bit different from what you see. So that's where I need help. That's why I ask these goofy questions. What I want to ask now has to do with each section, but it's the information that's in there. So like your first section, I think if I remember correctly, you're given access to a welcome something and soft skills link. What I don't think it is obvious that there's information behind those links. Like you can just go in there, skip the link, and it's all good. So how can I make it more usable for you? Because there's some good stuff back there. Like all our videos, all the information that I've written in the past, it's all in there, but I don't know if anybody's truly accessing it. How can I make it so that it's easily accessible and obvious?
Yeah,
Well, it has
so
to
when
be-
I was doing my step 1, I'm sorry.
No,
When I was
go
doing
ahead.
my step 1, I noticed that like I completely skipped over it because I didn't even realize that it was there. So
Yeah.
maybe even having like a screen clipping of the video above it or something like that, or even make the picture like hyperlinked so it's like in your face kind of thing. But that would be my only suggestion.
Yeah, and I was going to echo something that Amanda was getting at, I think, and that is, just make it visually obvious. Right now, Pete, like I'm looking at it right now, it says pathway resources, right? Candidate welcome, soft skills, resume. It's a link. Okay. So, it doesn't suggest that there's really any type of treasure, right, behind the link. You know what I mean?
Perfect. More ideas. I'm just writing, so I appreciate that. And I process and then I write. That's just the way I roll. But I'm with you. And we put it up, and I think we designed it, at least me, not picking on George, with assumptions. So I'm sure I told George, because I think he was like, let's put graphics here. And I'm like, no, let's just make it a link. So he's going to hit me on that, I guarantee you. But I agree with you. I like Amanda's idea. The only problem is we have multiple videos. So I want to figure that out, unless we take a column and just put the key videos for that section or something. That could be fun. So
Oh, when we click on it, it's just one major video, like at the top, like for the welcome one. So you could just do like a screen clipping of the welcome one.
yeah,
And then the same thing for the soft skills, like that one's already, the first one's already open. So it's just an idea.
yeah, I like that. Because what happens is I look at your soft skills. I'm not picking on you, Amanda. I look at the soft skills and I see like 3, and I'm like, I can already come up with 3 soft skills based on your bio. So you're not doing it. So like if we make that video obvious, they'll click it, and I don't remember how long it is, like 4 or 5 minutes. They'll get a deeper understanding of what we're looking for. And then everybody adds their soft skills differently. So I think I need to put some more information in there. And this is where I go back to those check boxes, right? So some people will just create a line of all their soft skills down a line, and some will add a comma and just create it so it's easier to read. And so I'm trying to figure out the sweet spot there.
Pete, if I could make a suggestion, going back to what Casper was talking about and what Amanda brought up as well. Basically a play on your name as far as the pathway, right? Some graphics on here that shows, check boxes across the different steps along the pathway, right? And that includes, filling out your soft skills. It includes producing a draft of your resume. It includes, and on and on and on it goes, right? So those are steps along the pathway. So having some sort of visual like roadmap in front of the candidate, right, that shows, hey, these are the steps you're going to go through, and here's where you are right now on the process.
I love it. I think that was one of George's ideas. So cool. Thank you. I like that too, because that makes it fun, right? And it could be a flight trail, that we could play on. It could be all kinds of things, or just like a battery button or something. Okay. Cool. Any issues accessing that information, accessing those videos? No?
No, but about the same thing he was talking about, I got the idea that the links you include there, like the video career checklist and all the way down to the other links you include through the candidate welcome, you could put them in another nested list underneath the candidate welcome to make it even more clear that there are more resources there.
Okay. I like that. Okay. Cool. Okay. Using jargon I don't always understand, but George will. All right. Perfect. All right. This is exactly what I want to get from you guys. Oh my gosh, we're at the 45-minute mark. Events, I don't think we need any change there because they're pretty easy. Because of Peter, I now update them right after the workshop, because once he was like, well, more than once, he was like, hey, I went to this workshop, what up? So now when the workshop's over, I make sure everybody's checked in, we're good to go. That's also why I have Josh helping me identify who's here in case I don't get to capture them all. What else that's not provided on this portal that you'd like to see tracked can we add to this thing for your benefit? Or if your profile is made available to employers, because we're starting to now really attract employers. One's coming in this week. So what else would you like to see that will help make your profile look nicer, or at least more informative from a content or visual perspective? Casper mentioned a profile photo. That could be one. right?
Yeah,
What else
it's
could there be?
kind of hard to say because I mean, are they going to see exactly what we see here when we're on our page?
It'll be a little bit.
If you go to the edit, if you click on edit pathway, it says anything with a pink background will be visible. So name, if you put in your zip code, email, all of your bio, LinkedIn, school stuff, and then your
Got it.
seeking status, the interests, and resume.
Yeah,
Basically
I'm with
everything, your
Casper.
phone number, your
We're
birthday.
picking on Corey here. This is what you see. So you see his bio, where he's going to school, what he's looking for, his industry or his interest, his soft skills, resume, and the answers to those 3 questions. And if he posted his LinkedIn, which he didn't, that goes there as well.
Yeah, I'm with Casper. I'd like a picture up there. Basically, make it look like a. I mean, that's great. Thanks for showing that, right? But make it anything to personalize it. Right, a photo would go a long way, I think.
Okay. Now, let me know what you think of this one. And this was an argument I lost. And I think I lost it for the right reason. In the 3rd section is the elevator pitch. I fought hard for a video and I lost. And the reason I lost is mostly because of accessibility. If there's a student who just does not have the accessibility to a mobile device, a computer, anything, we didn't want to give it an excuse to rule that candidate out. So we are having it scripted. But what's becoming a little bit more required now are these video interviews. Would adding a section there where you could post like a resume? Does everybody know what a resume is? It's like a video resume where basically you get like 3 minutes to share your history, your resume in a video. Would something like that be of benefit? So Casper, I'm going to pick on you. You have your image. Maybe underneath it is a video of you saying, I'm Casper. I am awesome because, and you get to share your elevator pitch, your why. You can describe your experiences within like 2 or 3 minutes. Do you think that would be something that you would find attractive?
My reaction to that would be, I think it would be very valuable, even though I don't like to see myself on video. Like you said, it's more and more asked for in the workforce now, in the workplace, in the job search market. So I think that'd be great practice. And if you could coach us through the process of making it, editing it, revising it, tweaking the script, how long we want to do it, our backgrounds, all that stuff with the same kind of attention detail that you have for resumes, I think it'd be great.
And I think Casper just put his finger on one of the limiting factors, right, Pete, in that it's going to be labor intensive, not just for the candidate, but as part of the coaching process, right, and the reviews of the videos and providing critiques against the videos, et cetera, et cetera. It's almost like all of the work that you're doing right now on the resumes multiplied a few times.
Maybe. So we don't LinkedIn. We provide feedback, but it's not part of the 3-step process. So I think this could be viewed the same way, where if you want that up there, it's on you. If your LinkedIn profile is not good, we advise that you take it off your profile. But if you really want it on there, put it on there. So if there's an opportunity to have a resume or some sort of a video recap of yourself, yeah, I'm gonna go through it and I'm gonna judge it. I'm gonna critique it. But if you want that on there, it's on you. So we could take that. So I don't know if it would definitely add a workshop about it for sure, but it would not be part of the 3-step process. It's not gonna, I don't think it'll hold you up. It's really an add-on for the employer so that they can see you in a video. I'm with Casper, and I don't mind seeing myself because I see myself all the time in videos. But, I could have been feeling weird that day. I could have been in a bad mood. There could have been all kinds of factors. My tie was not correctly tied. The background, there was a fly flying around. There are all kinds of factors that could impede my ability to get recognized the best way I want through that video. And if I'm shooting that video, how many times am I recording it, going over it? How many takes does it take? How many times do I edit it? And so that issue is on you. And so I don't want to add a burden, but if it adds a benefit, then that's something that we could look at. And I think for our software developer, it's just a link that opens up. You know, could be your personal YouTube, Vimeo, whatever you guys use. I don't want to upload anything because he's going to kill me for bandwidth, but if it's just a link, it's perfect.